The first question, the common questions. Yeah, as you know, that is, how many species are there in this world? How many species? Human beings, species name is Homo sapiens. So, animal is also a kind of a species. Trees you find before you, no, at the side of you, that are one kind of species. Species Bengali meaning প্রজাতি। এই পৃথিবীতে কত ধরনের কত 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 সংখ্যায় প্রজাতি আছে? What does Google say? There are approximately 8.7 million species are there in this world. 8 point. This is not me. This is told by Google. Okay. How many millions species are there in this world? 8.7 million species of plants and animals in existence in this world. And among these 8.7 million species, only 1.2 million species have been identified. Okay? Our concern is not like that. Our concern is that every species will have life, and the trees also have life, okay? But human being, they have brain, yeah? Elephant, they will also have brain, is it? So whenever a species will be concerned, they will have life, and another thing, they will have brain. Out of this all species. So the brain's capacity, the human's brain capacity is much more better and excellent than the brain of this computer. The computer has a brain, isn't it? Hard disk, hard memory and short memory, yeah? RAM, random access memory. So what is the difference between the computer's brain and human brain?
The computer is not buddhimantan, human brain capacity of three.
অনেক কম, okay? And what is the size of an elephant's brain? একটা হাতির brain কত বড়? And human brain? But if you compare the capacity of human brain, and the capacity of human brain is much more stronger than the capacity of an elephant's brain. Our concern is that out of these 8.7 million species, only human being can speak our language. Okay. And other species are also very smart. Among them, dolphin. Yeah. Apart from the dolphin, there is one kind of chimpanzees. Their brain is very strong. And even if you train a dog, train can perform many activities. A dog can perform many activities, and in many countries they run hotels. Okay, so elephant, dogs, and others, if you train them, they can do many works for you. And in Thailand, if you go over there, every family will have an elephant. An elephant will be doing many activities over here. But our concern is that elephant, dog, and other species, they can't speak a language. This is the human being, they can learn language. And observing this human brain's capacity, this man, Arnold Gesell, he observed that how does a human child learn a language? Okay. How does a human child learn something? And how does a human brain develops in its own way to work a thing, to learn a language, to perform any sort of activities. And he said that this sort of activities is done by two processes. What are the processes? Excuse me. What are the processes? That means human being can do many things with the help of two things and two ways, as we can say. What are the ways? According to Arnold Gesell, he said that human brain works for the contribution of gene, that is directed by gene in a fixed sequence. Fixed sequence, that means this way. Okay? Gesell development theory. Okay? So in the first stage we see that the child is doing a thing. Gradually it is trying to get up, then it starts walking, then it starts running, and then it picks a school bag and goes to school and do the other activities. So how does these activities done? These activities is done for the contribution of two things. One, that is the genetics, that means the gene, human gene, and then human brain. You will have some specific portion there that is responsible for the child's development. Previously we have talked about behaviorist theory of language learning. We have talked about Pavlov's dog experiment. We have also talked about maturation theory. We have talked about innatist theory. Okay? But here that would be an extension, that Gesell said that human activities is done by the gradual development of human brain, and that is the contribution of our gene. So this is Arnold Gesell. He is a psychologist, and his idea about child development is called maturation theory of child development. He is a psychologist, and he said that maturation is a process of child development, and that is directed by genes in a fixed sequence. So in which age a child is supposed to do a different kind of activities, we can't accept more than that. এক বছরের বাচ্চা যে পরিমাণে কাজ করতে পারে তার কাছ থেকে আমরা সেটাই আশা করতে পারি, এবং gradually he will be or she will be picking some other abilities to do. Readiness, the ability to learn abstractly and to comprehend the purpose of one's work before mastering the learning of the task. So the brain will be ready, and they will have some capabilities. That is, what sort of capabilities? Individuality. That is, when a child will have its individuality. A behavior trait where the child has a sense of oneself. Okay. And when it will develop, Gesell says it will develop gradually with the contribution of the human brain. It will not done abruptly, not in a haphazard way. And maturity, behavior traits exhibited during a child's development. And capacity, behavior traits of adapting and learning from the child's social environment. So individuality, maturity, capacity, all development will done in a sequential way, and that is who is responsible. The behavior is not responsible, the teachers are not responsible, the caregivers are not responsible. So who is responsible? According to Arnold Gesell, the human brain or the gene is responsible for that every child will be learning all sorts of maturity, that means individuality, personality, capacity in a gradual way, and that would be done with the help of our gene. And out of the all species of this world, out of this 8.7 million species, only human being can learn something, and they will develop this kind of capacity, that means individuality, personality, likings, dislikings, and capacity for the gradual development of the brain or the gene. That is the maturation theory of Arnold Gesell, and it is also called the maturation theory of child development. Okay, so what is maturation theory of language development? So it is said that language is a product of brain. So in one stage we have learned that is done gradually. The gradual development will be done, okay, in a fixed sequence with the help of our brain, and in the similar way, language will also be learned. Language is a product of brain. So it is a psychological theory. That means the child will be developed gradually. So how it will be related to SLA? How does it is related to SLA in such a way that the maturation theory, that means language is a product of human brain. So if the maturity, individuality, personality, capacity are developed for the contribution of the human brain, in the same way language will be developed, and language will be a production of human brain. It will not be the production of an elephant's brain. It will not be the production of a chimpanzee's brain. It will not be the production of other species' brain. So language is the product of brain structures and functions affected by genetics and environmental influence. Okay, so here Gesell didn't describe that only the gradual development of brain will be enough for language production. He has said that two things are responsible for the language production. One is genetic structure, and another in environmental influences, which play a primary role in supporting the language acquisition. Just like the innatist theory. Innatist theory in case of Noam Chomsky, it is in the human brain. But if it is in human brain, then means after the birth of a child, the child will learn language automatically. That is the natural process. No. Noam Chomsky said that yes, language data is responsible. Input will be there, and input will be the trigger. And input will trigger the human language sensitive portion of our brain, and the child will learn the language. In the quite similar way, that is, the language will be the product of our human brain, but that product will not be activated without the environmental influences. So environmental influences is there, and that would be the supporting. And this research influenced that what we know about developmental milestone. The key principles of Gesell maturation theory is that children develop through similar and predictable sequence. So in which way? Unpredictable sequence will not be there here. And it doesn't mean that the 1-year child abruptly will start speaking. A 6-month child will not start speaking abruptly. Gesell said that would be will be done in an unpredicted sequence. Okay. So what a child will do, that is predictable. That means কখন একটা বাচ্চা কথা বলবে, কখন তার ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালিটি গ্রো করবে, কখন তার ক্যাপাসিটি গ্রো করবে যে সে একাই স্কুলে যেতে পারছে. So that is predictable according to Arnold Gesell. So Gesell noticed that they did so at their own pace. Okay. Suppose if you start rebuking a 1-year child that yes, do this, play the computer game, okay, write the alphabet, write the letters of an alphabet of other things, okay. You can't pressure, you can put pressure on a child of 1 year age, but Gesell said that will not work. The development of a child will follow a page, a standard way of achieving the capacity. So that will follow their own page, and suggested this development starts to occur before the child's birth. And also he said that this portion, language sensitive portion or individuality or the other characteristics of human being, Gesell said that were inscribed in human brain before the birth, and after the birth that activities or that abilities will grow in a child gradually following a specific page, not abruptly. It is in your brain, but it doesn't mean that after the birth the child will start speaking, the child will start dancing, the child will start singing. No, not like that. So he said that development, the child development will follow a page, and according to the page, gradually one after another, the child will learn a thing, language, then individuality, then personality, then decision making ability. So that is the gradual process of maturation theory. And he has cited, Gesell has cited several stages, just like in previous classes we have said babbling stage, 2 words stage, or like that. There are some stages over there that is smooth, break up, sorting out, in wordizing, expansion, neurotic fitting together. Okay, so there are several stages. So the smooth development, okay, sorting out, that means what you will be picking up, and in wordizing. So these are the steps. These are the steps that a child will follow in its development.
There is no description stages. In which stage what happens?
Yeah, we can presume that might be the stage like that. Yeah. Okay, so like that, the initial stage. There is no specific definition that what is called babbling stage or like that. Here he said naturally that they will follow a page and they will follow some sort of steps of achieving the several kinds of abilities. Okay, so from his finding, Gesell concluded that mental and physical development in infants, children and adolescents are comparable to and parallel orderly process. So first of all, infant means before 6 months, infant. Then children, we can call 2 years. After 2 years we can call children, and from 13 we can call adolescent. So infant, children and adolescents. So in case of infant, in case of children, in case of adolescent, there are 2 kinds of development. One is psychological, another is physical. So physical development will be done by the gradual development or contribution of the gene, and according to Gesell, the psychological development will also be done through following a passage. That means in childhood, in infanthood and in adolescence period, there will have some capacity of individuality, capacity and other things. Okay, and the result of this research were utilized in creating the Gesell development schedule, which can be used with children between 4 weeks and 6 years of age. Okay, so this development will be done gradually. Okay, and we can also explain this development, this psychological and physical development in another term in such a way that we have considered 6 major perspectives of development. That is psychodynamics, behavioral, cognitive, humanistic, contextual, and evolutionary. One of my friends, he said that yes, they have a son. Their son is 6 years of age. He says, my friend says that my son eats food if one of his friends gives some food to him, but he will not share his food to his friends. So why? The child said that my friends give me their food because they love me. But I said that yes, why you will not be sharing food with your friends? You don't love them? Okay, so that is a cognition. That is a humanistic approach. Okay, and for this reason, some notion in case of some surroundings, some children will be adamant, and some children will be of sharing mentality. Sharing mentality means they will be sharing their toys with other children, they will be sharing their tiffin with other children, and some children will not do so. Why? Because Gesell said there are two kinds of development. One, the physical development that child had, but the psychological development the child didn't have. Why? There is the environmental influences was absent. The child was born, he is the only one baby of a family. They have affluent family. Whatever he asks their parents, his parents give them. So this notion got the child adamant. So the child thought that whatever I will ask, my parents will give that. Okay. So the physical development of the child has done. He has been 6 or 7 years of age, but the psychological development hasn't done. Why it hasn't done? Because there was no environmental influences. Many child, they will not eat food with their own hands. Why? Because their mother or their father loves them so much that they will be helping the child for eating their foods. So that child has physical development. He has gone 10 years or 8 years of age, but he is not eating food with his own hand. What does it mean? That means that child had physical development, but that child didn't have the psychological development because of the environmental influences were absent. Because anybody didn't say that you should use your own hand. Okay, yes, you have to do it with your own hands. Okay, so the environmental influence will be there. So the maturation is a theory. That theory is prescribed and propagated by Arnold Gesell. He said that there will be two kinds of development, one psychological development and another physical development. Physical development will be done for the contribution of our gene, that we are talking, that is the activities of our human brain. That means with the help of our brain, we will learn a language, you will learn your individuality, you will learn your humanistic notions in one way, and the second way is that you have to have the environmental influences. Okay, so and that environmental influences will come in different ways. Okay, it may come from your friends. Okay, in an extended family, naturally you will have so many cousins. Whenever you will be brought up in an extended family, you will have sharing mentality, because you will have to mix with your several cousins. Okay, maternal cousins, paternal cousins, like that. Whenever the child will be growing up in such a situation, that children will have the sharing mentality. If in a unique family, a child will have contaction only with his father or mother, and apart from the father and mother, the maid servant or the maid servant. So what kind of notion he will be applying? The child that will grow up in a unique family, he will not have the environmental influences. So physical development will be there, but humanistic and the psychological development will not be there. And also the contextual development, that in case of a child, every incident will create a replica in their brain. Okay, suppose if you take your younger brother or someone else, 5 to 6 years old, to some incidents, and if you start rebuking or if you start quarreling with someone else, you will see that the child will noticing you with a sharp eye. Okay, that means it is observing everything. So in that context, the child had got the contextual ability what should be done in that circumstances. In a family, if there are so many quarrelsome incident happens in a family, that child will get such kind of environmental influences that when the child will grow up, it will pick the habit of quarrelsome. That means the quarrelsome habit will also be attributed and also got for the cause of the environmental influences. Okay, and for this reason, if you purchase a gun for a child below 5 years of age, and that gun will be applied by the child in this 5 and 6 years old, and next time that gun will make him to shape the child's behavior next time, because that is for the code of environmental influence. Okay.
What about the child? Sometimes they eat other things without letting it flow, and
of course he has got some kind of contextual development. Yeah. Okay. So you see that in every class there will have some morality class. Yeah, morality. Something will be done over there. Okay, and if the child saw such kind of activities in their cousin, that one cousin got food of other cousin and started eating without the approval. So if you get such kind of situation earlier, then he or she will try to express that feelings in other situations. Of course, that idea should be inscribed in the child's brain from the context. Without context, such kind of behavior will not be copied.
So who is the responsibility? Parents,
Of course, parents, teachers, others, and the elders one, yeah. Your younger one may ask you that what is the heinous crime. My daughters ask me sometimes, সবচেয়ে খারাপ কাজ কি? আমি বলি মিথ্যা কথা বলা। Okay. So এটা যদি আপনার কাছ থেকে শেখে, প্যারেন্টসদের কাছ থেকে শেখে, এল্ডারদের কাছ থেকে শেখে, তাহলে সে সবসময় সেটা অ্যাপ্লাই করার চেষ্টা করবে। এক্সকিউজ মি, so if they learn this from any of their elders, it may be the parents, it may be the elder ones, it may be the neighbors, it may be the teachers, it may be the miss, it may be the sir, whatever. Okay, so that situation will. The child acquires the ability to ride a bicycle as it learns strength, balance, and coordination. So there should be a coordination among physical development and psychological development. Okay, so that is Gesell's theory of maturation theory of child development, and that it will process way. Okay, that some of genes affect. So the child development, psychological and physical, that are the activity of gene, but that gene will be effective for some influences. Maturation is the net sum of gene effects operating in a self-limiting life cycle. So maturation is an automatic process, and it will grow and develop. It will complete with the growth, modification from within, in wording, what you will. Okay, so if a child sees a thing that is you are doing something, so in a situation, if you do not perform the negative activities, the child, you didn't say the child that yes, these negative activities shouldn't be done. Okay. অনেক সময় আমরা দেখি কি যে হচ্ছে কেউ হয়তো তোমার কাছে কিছু সাহায্য চাইতে আসছে, অনেকে বলে যে মাফ করেন, হ্যাঁ, আবার অনেকে কিছু টাকা দেয়, ঠিক আছে, আবার অনেকে অনেক রাগ করে, কি বলে তোমার শরীরে তো অনেক শক্তি, তুমি ভিক্ষা করো কেন। প্রত্যেকটা বিহেভিয়ার এই বাচ্চাদেরকে না বললেও তারা এটার একটা আইডিয়া করে নেয়, নিয়ে পরবর্তীতে ও একাই যখন এরকম সিচুয়েশন ফেস করে তখন যেটা আপনি করেছেন সেটা সে করার চেষ্টা করে। সো দ্যাট ইজ মডিফিকেশন ফ্রম উইদিন। ওকে, দ্যাট মিনস না, genetically modification from within you know. Okay, environmental influence will be there. Genetics এ থাকবে, ব্রেন জেনেটিক্স, তার সে হয়তো ব্রেনিয়ান হবে কিন্তু সে হিউম্যানিস্টিক হলে তার এনভায়রনমেন্টাল লাগবে। তার ব্রেন আছে, হি ক্যান প্লে কম্পিউটার, বাট হাউ টু টক উইথ আ সার্ভেন্ট, হাউ টু টক উইথ আ বেগার, that he or she will not learn without the environmental influence. Okay, if we miss so if anybody feels unhappy, if anybody doesn't see anything in his life, okay, so that factors will not affect. Next class please. And so the modification, what I have said, that yes, if a child is born from a meritorious parents, okay, he or she will be getting the merit from according to the gene, but the other perspective, that is the psychological development, whether the child will be, we have got incidents that a child can be very cruel, of very cruel mind. How? It is observed that the child who have the children who have lost their parents in their early age, বাবা মাকে হারিয়েছে, অরফান, সো অরফানদের ক্ষেত্রে কি করা হয়, অরফানদের তাদেরকে কেউ ভালোবাসে না, অনেকে বকাঝকা করে। এই বাচ্চারা যখন পরবর্তীতে বড় হয় তখন তাদের মধ্যে এই ক্রুয়েল মেন্টালিটিটা বেশি থাকে, কারণ সে নিজে কখনো এই ধরনের ভালো ব্যবহার কারো কাছ থেকে পায় না। ওকে, অ্যান্ড দ্যাট ইজ হ্যাপেনিং not for the contribution of gene, that is the contribution for the environment. Okay, so after observing the context, the child will modify and try to do this in his or her own way. So modification from within. Condition of learning, factors of maturations, and essential for learning skills. So these are the automatic process of child development according to Arnold Gesell, that a child will develop gradually, but there are two things that are involved. That is, there are four kinds of development or the maturity. That is the physical, we have said, also the psychological or mental development will be there, and emotional and spiritual development. Emotional, yeah. Physical, when I say physical maturity, I am not referring to the normal aging process of our body, but the fact that one day we realize that if our physical health is not in top shape, nothing else is worth much in life. Mental development will, that we have done. Okay, the physical development will be in a way, but mental development will be done in a different way. Okay, and emotional development, okay, that will also be effective by the contribution of the gene environment, and the spiritual development will be there. So the Gesell's maturation theory is influenced by two major forces. First, the child is a product of his or her environment, but more fundamentally, Gesell believed that the child's development is directed from within and by the action of the gene. Gesell called this process maturation. And the best thing a parent can do is be sensitive and patient, since they cannot affect development, and only after guidance according to the Gesell's maturation theory. Okay, so if the child is not developed psychologically or emotionally developed, parent should be patient on the development and should work according to the development theory done by Gesell. And that is the maturation theory of Gesell. Okay.
How child develops their spiritual development?
Spiritual development, that will also be contextual and with the situation of the environment. Eric Hein Lenberg, okay, and he has worked on a paper, and the name of the paper, The Capacity of Language Acquisition, that was published, and he said that universal appearance of a trait at a single time across a species, the species typical traits, universal appearance across time for a group, not just an artifact of cultural history. Again, species typical diagnostic features, no learning of the trait is possible. Individual development of a trait rigidly follow a given schedule regardless of the particular experience of the organism. Okay, so that is about maturation theory of second language acquisition or the child development by Arnold Gesell. In summary, therefore, mentalist view of L1 acquisition posits the following: language is a human specific faculty. Language exists as an individual independent faculty in the human mind. Although it is a part of the learner's total cognitive apparatus, it is separate from the general cognitive mechanism responsible for intellectual development. And the primary development of L1 acquisition is the child acquisition device, which is genetically inbred and provides the child with a set of principles about grammar, and the acquisition device atrophies with age. So that is another important thing, is that the child development will done following a pace, and in a certain time it will stop developing. Okay, so when it will stop, we don't know. Gesell didn't mention the time, but he said that the child development, psychological development, emotional development will done up to a certain age, and after that development will stop. Okay, so if it is so, then language learning by adult learner cannot be possible. The process of acquisition consists of hypothesis testing, by which means the grammar learner's mother tongue is related to the other universal grammar. So that is about the Gesell's maturation theory. So it is about the child development, not only for the physical development, it is for the and that developments are the contribution of two specific things, that is one gene and another environmental influences. Okay, so the development, that means the child physical development and environmental development, or the psychological or the mental development, will be done following a page, but there are some other factors will be influencing on the development, especially the psychological and the humanistic development or the mental development. Environmental influences play a vital role. That is the maturation theory by Arnold Gesell. Okay. Any question?
তিনটা থিওরি আমরা বললাম ম্যাচুরেশন থিওরি, মেন্টালিস্টিক আর বিহেভিয়ারিস্টিক, তিনটা কি ফার্স্ট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ অ্যাকুইজিশনের জন্য ইফেক্টিভ নাকি সেকেন্ড ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ?